What is up everyone, it's Dasha and welcome back to my channel. If you're learning English or are looking to improve it, then this channel is the place for you. I've been working in the UK for the past 5 years, and so I decided to make this video about the most commonly used English expressions in the work environment. But before we begin, remember to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more English learning videos like this one. The first expression is to show you the ropes. I think it's originally an American expression, but I've heard it many times here in the UK. When you start your job, you might hear your boss tell you something like, "Jeremy here will show you the ropes," which means that Jeremy will show you how to do your new job. The expression most likely comes from sailing, when sailors had to learn how to use the ropes to control the sails and all that kind of stuff. To hit the ground running is a phrase that is very often used in the workplace, and it means that once you start a job, you'll immediately start to work at a very fast pace as if you've worked there before. So let's say that you just started a new job as a manager, and from the first day you hit the ground running because you are so busy working at full speed. Elevenses is a very colloquial expression that we mainly use here in the UK. It's a light meal with a cup of tea or coffee that you normally have at 11 a.m. Hence the word 11 in Elevenses. Other countries obviously have this, so the UK is not alone, they're just called differently. In general, to flag something means to draw someone's attention or your own attention to something important. Like, you can say to your manager, "Hey, I noticed there's a mistake here in these financial statements and I flagged it with the accountant." This means that you told the accountant about the mistake. If, however, you're ever asked to flag something, like let's say your boss tells you, "Hey, could you please flag this?" This means that you should mark it as important by, let's say, putting it in your calendar or putting it on your to-do list. Some wiggle room is an informal way of saying that there's space to be flexible about something. To wiggle means to move in different directions. You'd hear this phrase in all kind of contexts, like when negotiating a deal or drafting an agreement. For example, when negotiating a deal to sell machinery on behalf of your company, you could ask for quite a high selling price to allow for some wiggle room when the person trying to buy the products potentially tries to negotiate a lower price. In another example, let's say that you're looking at a contract which says that you should deliver goods at exactly 1 p.m. on Friday. You could ask the buyer if there is any wiggle room on the time of delivery so that you can deliver the goods at a more flexible time. To rejig something means to reorganize it. For example, you just sent a draft letter to your boss for review. He might have then made some changes to your letter and send you an email back saying, "Hey, thanks for this letter, I rejigged it slightly." Fire away or bombs away just means please send. Let's say that you asked your manager to review a contract that you drafted for your client, and you ask them to review it for approval, and then they approve it. The manager could just then say, "Yes, please fire away," which means yes, please send it to the client. Next up is "the ball is in your court." This phrase is very overused, so please don't use it unless you really have to. It means that the responsibility is now on you, and in this phrase you can consider the ball to be the responsibility and the court to be you. And by the way, you can say that the ball is in our court, in their court, in her court, in his court. It doesn't matter, it's pretty flexible. As an example, you're working on a major acquisition of a company and you send the buyer all the documents that they need to review and close the deal. You can then say that the ball is in their court because the next steps will depend on them. Get the ball rolling is another common expression. It means to get things started. Let's say that you're a lawyer and you're about to sue someone. You could tell your team, "Okay guys, let's get the ball rolling," which means, guys, let's get things started. To park something means to leave it on the side for the time being. You can also park an idea. Let's say that you're having a brainstorming session with your marketing team and you come up with a suggestion, with an idea. Somebody could then turn around and say, "That's a great idea, Dash, but let's park it for a minute." To ping someone just means to either send them a message or an email. To have something on your radar means that you're aware of it. So let's say your boss pings you and asks you, hey, did you see that email from the client about the adjustment we should make to the next month's management accounts? You could reply and say, yeah, that's on my radar. To drill down on something means to analyze it in great depth. For example, your client's company has been making serious losses and they ask you to look into financial data. You could say to your colleagues that we really need to drill down into this data and understand why our client's company has been making so many losses. Deep dive is quite similar to drill down, and it means that you need to dive deep into an analysis in order to really understand it. You could, for example, take a deep dive into a research task that your manager asks you to do, and all that means is that you need to do very profound research on a subject. Going forward simply means from now on or from today onwards. You could say, for example, going forward, we're going to submit budgets on a monthly basis. To be bogged down with work means that you're extremely busy. So the next time, if you're unable to answer to an email that your colleague sent you, you could later apologize to them and tell them, I'm very sorry, but I was very bogged down with work. When something is a no-brainer, it means that it's very simple and it's very easy, that you don't even need to use your brain to figure it out. Let's say that there's a problem that you need to solve at work, and you ask your colleague for help, and then they just turn around and tell you, well, that's a no-brainer, and they give you a solution in like 3 seconds. To nip out means to go outside. So let's say that you want to go out for lunch. You could tell your colleagues, hey guys, I'm just nipping out for lunch. When someone asks you to keep them in the loop, it means that they're asking you to involve them in something and keep them up to date. Let's say that you just got a really big client on board and your boss asks you to involve him and keep him in the loop about all the work that you're doing and how everything's progressing. If you make a mistake, you can admit to it by saying, my bad, which means that it's your fault. To touch base with someone is just another way of saying to talk to someone, either by phone or email, it doesn't really matter. So imagine that you're just about to finish a meeting with a person. You could tell them, hey, let's touch base tomorrow, meaning let's talk about this tomorrow. Similar to touching base, reaching out to someone means to communicate with them. For example, at the end of your email to a client, you could say, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions, meaning feel free to contact me. To be on the same page with someone means that you're in agreement with a person about something. Or it could mean that you and the other person have the same understanding about a matter. For example, when discussing a pricing model for your company, you could tell your team members, well, I'm glad that we're on the same page. The word admin is short for administration of business, and all it really means is the day-to-day running of a business, like photocopying, doing the post, doing expense reports, and that kind of stuff. Action points are the things that you need to do. Usually you'll hear this phrase in the context of a business meeting that you have about the things that need to be done, that is the action points. This could be something like reaching out to a specific client or tidying up a financial report. ASAP stands for as soon as possible, and it means that something needs to be done as soon as possible. In the legal industry, we say that something needs to be done yesterday. Okay, so I don't really know if this is actually office jargon or not, but I thought I'd put it in here because A, I love cats, and B, I did hear it a couple of times used in the office. As you've probably realized by now, one does not simply herd cats. You can herd animals like sheep, goats, cows, but never cats, because, well, it's impossible. But getting back to the point, you would use the phrase to herd cats when, for example, you're having an event in your office and you have a designated area where this event is taking place, but you're finding it very hard to organize people and keep them in the same spot. You could say that, oh my God, keeping these people in the same spot is like herding cats, meaning it's very hard to do it because herding cats is impossible. You'll normally hear the expression key takeaways after or during a meeting. There are basically the most important things that came from the meeting. So a key takeaway from a meeting could be the need to reduce the company's expenses. 9 to 5 means the normal work routine, and it describes a full-time job where the working hours are from 9 to 5. But you'll usually hear this phrase 9 to 5 to describe a very boring job, like, oh, I really hate my 9 to 5 job. And lastly, due diligence. It's a phrase that you'll most likely hear in the corporate field. It's actually a legal term in corporate law, specifically when there's an acquisition or a sale of a business. It describes the documents that relate to the company or business being sold before the sale is concluded. The purpose of due diligence is to ensure that you know absolutely everything about the company or business that is being sold. So if you ever hear your boss say that you'll have to do a due diligence exercise, be prepared to read lots and lots of documents. And that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching this video till the end. Let me know in your comments below if there are any other phrases that you might have heard or that I might have missed. I hope you found this content useful, and of course, if you did, remember to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more awesome content and videos like this one. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!